Let's have a candid conversation about accountability, relationships, and responsibility. It is time for our Black Men's Roundtable. Please welcome our facilitator, Monica Simpson, Executive Director of Sister Song. Actor and activist, Kendrick Sampson. Singer, songwriter, and actor and New Orleans native, Luke James. Digital educator, diversity and inclusion expert, and social media influencer, Conscious Lee. Rapper, Euro Got It. Content creator, Joseph Irvin, and the president and CEO of the Global Black Economic Forum, Alfonso David.
Mic check.
Check
Mic check, 1, 2.
Check 1, 2.
There we go.
Hello, everybody. No. Let's do that again. Hello, everyone. All right. My name is Alfonso David. I'm the president and the CEO of the Global Black Economic Forum. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm deeply, deeply honored to be on stage with these gentlemen. And I'm just as deeply honored to be in partnership with Sister Song and Monica Simpson. And a personal point of privilege, Monica and I have been talking about how important it is to talk about social and economic justice and also make sure that we as men are a part of the conversation in a meaningful way on all issues that are affecting women. So this conversation is an extension of that. And I want to just thank Monica publicly for being such a fierce advocate and such an inclusive person when it comes to all things people of color and Black people specifically. Yes. And Monica, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Alfonso. Peace, everybody. How y'all feeling today? Now, I'm going to be talking a little sexy because these allergies are trying to take me out, but they will not win. Do you hear me? But can y'all hear me okay? Beautiful. Well, it is truly an honor to be in conversation with you all in the audience and with all of my brothers on stage today. For those who may be new to understanding what reproductive justice is, this is a movement that was started by Black women in 1994 that asserts that every individual has the human right to be able to make their own decisions about their bodies, their families, and their futures. What we understand is that our ability to make those decisions in this country are under attack. We understand that abortion bans are killing Black women. We understand that Black women are dying in hospitals when they're supposed to be getting care. We know that our babies are being taken from us because of state-sanctioned violence. All of these issues are interconnected, and they are all connected to our economic welfare as well. But what we also needed to understand in these moments of being on the front lines of this fight was, what does it mean to have men in the conversation with us and in the work with us in a meaningful way? What barriers did we have to cross? What conversations did we have to have? And what work did we have to do? So these men, as well as a few other ones, came together because there was a call from a Black woman that said, can you come to the table and start this conversation with us about what does it mean for Black men to trust Black women and to enter into this conversation in a way that would require not only deep and personal vulnerability, but that would also give us what we need to actually win together. So can y'all give it up for these Black men that said yes? So I want to take us back, y'all, to October 20th. You all arrived in Atlanta, Georgia, and you came to this room where you were all sitting together, and you knew that you were going to have to answer some hard questions and have some vulnerable conversations. So when we go back to that moment, I wanted just to get us all talking for a moment. When we came together, now that we filmed together, What was one of the things that you remember now differently that you didn't think about when you came into that conversation, right? So we've seen what this has done. We've seen the impact that it's had. But what has happened now that you did not think was going to happen whenever you said yes to coming to that conversation? Kendrick, you want to start us off?
Do I want to start us off? Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. So what do I think? What did I not expect? Like the effect of it? I didn't expect. Okay. So I was in California buying some weed, and dude came. The bud tender, the weed man behind the bar. I'm talking about right before I got on the plane to come here. Black man, young black man, 20-something years old. I thought he was trying to compliment me on my career. I thought he was like, yo, no, I'm telling you. And I thought he was gonna say something, make me feel all good about myself and my career. He was like, that Roundtable y'all did, trust black women. He was like, nah, I'm telling you, I learned some shit. And I was like, that's the effect, because most of the time, I've told you about the comments you get when we wear trust black women. They they gonna say some dumb
Absolutely.
well, not all of them, right?
Right.
And you're like, no, who you gonna trust more?
Right. That's real.
And instead, the real surprise has been young black men engaging and being like, man, that was a real ass conversation. I could do that with I need to have them conversations myself. Y'all gonna do another one?
Yeah. That's what's up. I appreciate that. And we also appreciate you and Build Power for being a partner and making this thing happen.
Hey, come on, appreciate it.
So what about you, Luke? What showed up for you after the roundtable that you didn't expect?
Well, I mean, you know, I don't exactly find myself to be a part of things like that. I didn't know what to expect. I was just there to listen. And I realized how much we all need to listen. After that, I saw the comments, I saw all the reposts and just what people thought took place there and their opinions on what we should do and how the next one should be. And it really, I mean, I've always known that we have to have conversation, but specifically about trusting black women.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was such a hard thing that was happening.
Right.
And now I truly understand that it really is a thing that we have to talk more and more and more and more about.
Right.
I think as we just look at the world in totality, I just think of people who are the most nurturing to me. Who are the people that rub my back when I need it the most, who held me down and hold me up. I think of my mother, my aunts, my cousins, my friends, and I can't imagine a place where people don't trust them.
Right.
These people who have all of this love and power and grace. And so after now I realize the importance of such a movement.
Yeah.
Specifically, trust black women.
Right.
You know,
That's
that
what's up.
phrase, you know, like that, you know, and now I realize I'm even more of a vessel to have such conversations.
Yes.
Uncomfortable conversations in a way. You know, I don't know everything, but I hope that I could be somewhat of an inspiration of a listener. Because I think the first rule of communication is listening.
The only thing, I love you, but y'all don't know, Luke is actually a secret professor. That man can teach some classes. He be sliding it in there, but I'm telling you, he got the knowledge. He can actually put a whole curriculum together.
I agree. I appreciate you being humble, but you definitely dropped a lot of wisdom in that roundtable. And speaking of wisdom, consciously, you engage all the time across so many different sectors, conversations, and we know the manosphere is real, right? We know that there is an intentional agenda of moving particular types of propaganda through black men into our communities. But this was an opportunity to shift the culture of that. And you came into that conversation with the intention of doing that. So what has happened for you, or what have you seen differently on the other side?
I have
been upset that many people view the framework of trusting black women through a sexual lens, meaning if you're not having sex with black women, you shouldn't have a conversation about trusting black women. And I know a lot of the conversation was pushed towards him and me, because people believe my wife is not black and believe that because he's gay, he shouldn't have a conversation. What caught me off guard in this is not understanding how everybody in the world has a relationship to trusting black women and loving black women, and the idea that if you don't have this relationship, then I feel like you shouldn't be a part of the conversation. It's something that after the conversation happened, I had to really sit back and think like, so what y'all saying is, if you believe this individual doesn't have the intimate relationship with a black woman on an individual level that you believe, there should be no communal conversation around trusting black women. It blows my mind. And then sitting next to him, I don't know if y'all saw the Roundtable. I was trying to ask Luke a question. I say, Luke, man, when did you start loving black women? I think I asked like this. I asked him about his mom. And I'll never forget this. Luke looked me dead in my eyes and said I was adopted. And him responding to me that way, talking about, hey, I get my love for black women from my black mom. He said, I had to negotiate that because my mom gave me up when I was born. We having a conversation about trusting and loving black women, and he made me cry. I had to really fight back tears because what Luke had said. So shout out to you, Luke. I appreciate
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that was really powerful. A powerful moment.
Thank you.
I'm gonna come back to you, Alfonso. But Joseph, you were in that room, and you came into the room so vulnerably as well, bringing yourself and your full self into the conversation, right? And you definitely interjected a lot, right, that helped to ignite a lot, right, in the conversation. So what about you? What has shifted for you before we go into our direct questions?
I feel like I said what I needed to say for y'all. Like, I mean, I feel what I did not expect was the amount of divisiveness. You know, like a lot of people on social media, it was really split. It was like 50-50, you know? So, but as far as like what I said and everything, I feel comfortable. So, I mean, yeah. I knew what was going to happen. I figured it was going to, so.
That's real, that's real. What about you? Mr.
Got it.
Euro got it.
I got so caught up in Justin's response. Can you give me the question one more time?
Oh, no, for sure. What has shifted for you when thinking about what you walked into and now what you have seen come out on the other side? What has shifted, or what is something new that you didn't think about before?
I think there's a lot of things that go on in the mind, but if it doesn't come out publicly, I think that sometimes you can get comfortable in that lack of accountability of like, I still got time to get it together. But once you have a conversation with other people that's holding themselves accountable, other individuals that may have more knowledge than you, it makes you get on course because now you have other people watching you to make sure you stand up to be that caliber of person if you're going to be at a round table of people that are striving to be better. So for me, it was a lot of soaking in information that I didn't know, learning to compromise, and that it's not always what I think. Learning how to dismantle patriarchy. A lot of the things that Luke James was bringing about, a lot of the things that Kendrick had to correct me on, Justin's POV, even Lakeith, I wish he was here as well. Everybody brought something to the table that enhanced the accountability I need to take for myself to make sure that my pure intentions align with what I was trying to do to set the example for my woman and my kids and everybody else watching. So.
No, that's beautiful. So Alfonso, you watched this, right? And you saw this intergenerational conversation, this conversation amongst black men, cisgendered, trans black men, gay black men, right? Black men who came into this conversation through their lived experience, folks who came into the conversation deeply committed to understanding and transforming systems. All of these black men came with so many different vantage points to the conversation, and you got to see how they all came together. What was that experience like for you as a viewer and a black man who's been working on trying to find this connection?
I think watching this was so instructive as a viewer because it demystifies this idea that all of us look at issues or people or women through one lens.
Yeah.
And that's important not only as it relates to black men interfacing with black women, but it relates to how we all think about ourselves. If I'm interacting with you just as a human being,
Yeah.
my perceptions and reflections are going to shift based on my personal experiences, based on how I grew up, based on who I know, based on my trauma. And sometimes we ignore those when we are just simply looking at either gender or race.
Right.
And this conversation is deeply important because we know in this country that as people of color, we face significant challenges. But we also know that black women, all of us, come from black women. Or all of us come from black women, not just us sitting on the stage.
Everybody.
I'll say that again. All of us come from black women.
That's so real.
And so if you sit with that,
Yeah.
and you think about how we have that relationship with our mothers and our sisters and our aunts and our girlfriends, we have to recognize that our history still carries deep imprint on how we navigate the world. So for me as a viewer, it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
But it also highlighted all of the work that we have yet to do.
I agree with you on that so much. You know, for us, when we came to this conversation, Sister Song and Build Power, it was about how do we create a pathway for black men, because we know what the issues are. We know how delicate and how vulnerable it is for black women to talk about what's going on with our bodies, the attacks on our bodies, and for us to talk about how in some of those cases, far too many of them, those who were inflicting the pain, inflicting the violence, right, unfortunately is coming from the men in our lives, right? Or those that we have had to be in contact with. So this was not something that we took lightly, right? We wanted to be very intentional about making sure that each one of you were rooted in this reproductive justice frame, but that we gave you enough spaciousness to be able to talk about your own lived experiences, because that is the only way that we're going to be able to build that bridge together. So, Kendrick, for you, you have consistently used your platform to connect entertainment and activism. How has organizing changed your understanding of masculinity? And how can we pull the next generation of leaders into the field while challenging their patriarchal beliefs?
Damn. Wait.
Right?
Wait,
Come on.
hold on. You see this thing?
No, I'm going to tell it to you
Okay,
differently.
all right.
You use your platform to do this all the time. What is it going to take for us to bring more men in to this conversation?
I think so we're called Build Power, so we focus a lot on power. And I think one thing that we have to acknowledge, if we're agreeing that everyone came from a black woman, then power started in the black woman's womb for humanity. You get what I'm saying? There's no more powerful place on this earth than the black woman's womb for creation, right? No more powerful creative place for creation on this earth for humanity than the black woman's womb, which is why black women are targeted in the way that they are. When you think about you think about Texas. Texas has the highest rate of black women dying during birth, and that is not black women's fault. You get what I'm saying? It's the medical system. It's this system that we live in, and a lot of the time, black men start to talk about, when we talk about protecting black women, we think about protecting them as we own them or their property, or they're attacking black men and putting them in prison because they want to break up the home. No, they're attacking black men and putting them in prison so that they can attack the black woman, because the black woman is the power that they're after, right? And so if we understand our connection to that power, if black men understood our connection to that power, if we understood that our culture is not a luxury, it's not a holiday, it's not like an extracurricular activity. It's actually how we connect to our power, and the holders of the culture are Black women. We understand that our strategy has to be completely focused on Black women and freeing Black women and empowering them and supporting their power in order for all of us to get free.
Come on now. This is what reproductive justice looks like. Y'all feel me? Okay. Now, consciously, you work to challenge people to think critically while keeping culture at the center. But you were the one in the round table that brought in the concept of patriarchy and why it is important for men to be committed to dismantling the system of patriarchy. How do we make that more accessible for people who may not understand the word patriarchy, but are complicit with it, sometimes even unknowingly? How do we break that down to make that shift?
Great question, great question. I think first, being able to make a metaphor. A lot of Black men understand racism and white supremacy, but we have a hard time understanding, sexism and misogyny. So usually I can tell Black men, it's like, hey, you can acknowledge that white people on an individual level can do good and bad, and it doesn't negate what it means for the communal level for white folks, how they do it. Do you have a white friend that you care about? Sure. Do you have white people that yeah, sure. Does this negate the white supremacy reality? No, it does not. For responding to patriarchy, a lot of times when I'm dealing in the community, I try to be mindful of not using too much academic jargon. So instead of saying patriarchy, I talk about like male domination. Or, hey, have you ever heard the term, ain't no fun unless we all get some? Let me explain to you how this facilitates male domination at the expense of women, and then we able to kind of start raising their consciousness. A lot of times we jump too quickly into using terms with the community that's not of our community. And I want to be clear, I'm not being anti-academic or anti-intellectual. I'm acknowledging there are Black people that's invested in the community, invested in the academy, that really do a lot of research. What I am also acknowledging is that there are people that are most likely to cause harm towards Black women that's not in academia. So I got to think about how can I use the language to talk to them brothers over there. And what I find is that using different things that's happened in hip hop or different lyrics that happen in hip hop is able to abridge and able to really. Kendrick, you was right. You was right.
He a professor. He be sneaking it
Bridging
in.
the
He
gap.
be whispering it.
He be
but
whispering
He the
it.
professor, I'm telling you.
Hey, listen, y'all. I feel like all of y'all in here know that Luke is pretty brilliant, but I think that he is so kind of I don't want to say shy, but like guarded, that I feel like he don't let it out. So I'm hoping through this round table that he will start to express more of his intellectual analysis. You feel me? From the same mic that he's seen from.
I'm saying.
Y'all like that? Y'all like that, huh?
I'm saying.
They want
I like
it. They
how
want
you
it,
did
brother.
that.
But it's
I like how
not.
you did that.
It's also not even intellectual. It's literally just grounded in who he is. Just like
100%.
You're talking about breaking it down to like practical, how we live and how we can change our behavior. Like just like on a hey, why you doing that shit?
Don't do that.
And it's grounded in political theory. He don't ever recite the political theory. He just says, this is the outcome. This is what you need to pay attention to. And you can guarantee, that's the part that is so powerful in it, is people talk all the time and have good intentions. I want to make sure that you don't hurt her. I want to make sure that we good. Give back to the community, that ain't got no political grounding. It ain't got no strategy. Black women are not at the center of it at all. No strategy to it at all. Every time he's given a suggestion, even if it seems like, hey, just pay attention to this, I guarantee it's grounded in that political theory. There is so much academia and intellect behind it, but he doesn't have to present it in an intellectual way. And I think we need to stop. I think part of it is understanding that when they talk about slang and ebonics and AAVE and all this and try to put it as like this something that's inferior to academia, like you have to go and get a master's or doctorate. I guarantee you, what we speak on the street is way more complex than they will ever be able to understand.
Now that's a word.
That's
a word.
You're talking about a master's or doctorate, they ain't ever gonna be able to learn what this is. There's no degree that's gonna give them that understanding. When we can talk to each other the way we talk to each other and get us to change our behavior so that we can be freer and more powerful, that's what the culture's always been grounded in, back to the continent.
That's word. And I think that was what we saw on the panel. Like, one, we brought that thing down. You all did, because I didn't. But you brought that thing down in a way that people were able to understand it at such a personal level. And I saw the camaraderie that you all were building with each other in that experience. So, Luke, millions of people witnessed your vulnerability during this roundtable, but very few people know what happened after the camera stopped. Since the conversation, how has that honesty continued to shape you emotionally, and how has it changed the way you show up as a partner and as a father? Because you really brought that into the conversation so beautifully as well.
Thank you. I'm just constantly learning. I am a sponge, and I'm in a space of I don't know everything, and I'm really just trying to figure this out. And in some ways, this is a lot for me, because I like to sing, and I can play a character, and I can sit behind that, you know, and I can close my eyes and let God move me, you know. But then to sit down and be grounded in this conversation as myself, I have to think about my son. I have to think about my experience with my partner to childbirth, and all the fears that she may be having. And you know I want to be a father, and yes, but I don't know how scary that might be for her. And I just want everybody to have a good time in everything you do, right? So especially with my partner, I want her to, I just want to make sure she is just really good. And it has opened me up to really just understand everything in totality, everything we do, you know, how we move in the world. But also, it's sometimes for me, I find myself, I don't know if I can articulate it. I don't know if it's you know, palatable for people, because also I could be floaty, and I'm trying to find it, right? Because I don't know everything, and I'm just letting the Spirit move me as I am right now. So at the same time, but to bridge that gap is inserting people who, like myself, who I don't really want to talk about it. You know, I got a lot I'm thinking about. I see a lot, and you know, but they make it in such a way that I feel. Well, y'all make it in such a way that I feel comfortable to be here, and not feel like I'm being critiqued in my knowledge. I just want to. You're allowing me to be honest, in whatever it is my experience is.
Yeah.
And you know,
But no, that's so real. I think that's what was really powerful about the roundtable, y'all. Because here's the thing. We want our brothers to be in these conversations with us, right? We want them to, like, be the protectors. We want them to be on the lines with us. But do we give them the opportunity to say the wrong thing? Do we give them the opportunity to ask the questions, maybe not in the best way all the time? Do we give them the opportunity to also be vulnerable? And so in this experience, we were able to create a table for you all to do that in a very interesting, sometimes complicated, but a very real way, right?
Yes. But I mean, it's ugly. There's no way we can get to this without it being all of that.
That's
because there's so much, you know, there's so much life that we've all lived individually, right? And to talk about something that is deep, well, we got to go deep. And,
you have to do it.
You know, you can't expect, especially for us men, some of us don't know how to talk. We know how to be physical, though. We know how to present the physicality. But the beauty of it is when you're in a round circle that everybody kind of understands we're going to have to do that. In a barbershop, there's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of yelling. And if you have never been in a black barbershop, you might think somebody's about to fight.
Right.
Right? But that's just, sometimes it's just, that's how it's got to come out, because, you know, it's this energy. We don't all have control of it, but in that space, we feel welcomed to give our point of view, and we'll find that way. We'll settle it down where we need to settle it down. But it has to be in order to heal, you have to remove the layers of whatever that is infecting the situation, right? So that hurts, and that's not pretty, that's not fun, that's uncomfortable. I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard, I feel combative, I feel like y'all coming at me, y'all don't understand me, y'all got me with some young boys, I'm old, y'all, you know, it's like, what y'all, you know, it's a lot, you know. I remember Clifton Powell, he was just, the entire time leading up to it, he was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here.
Right.
You know, and
he had a hard time.
But
Had a hard time.
we had to just, you know, it's a lot. He ain't the only one dealing with everything, so we had to hold each other down, and that's why this is important. We have to hold each other the best way we can.
I also think there's something really, really, really powerful in there in a perspective. You know, when we create spaces where it's not, the quickest way to lose somebody is to be like, well, the adjudication of the blah, 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 right? If we can talk regular and we know we speak each other language, we got a shorthand, and we can be vulnerable. For black men, for any man, we're taught, because of this fucked up country, we're taught that the vulnerability is weakness, and it's where our power is. And so when we feel vulnerable, when we start talking and we opening up, we get defensive, and we don't realize that the place we feel most vulnerable is with black women. And we also don't realize when that's paired to you're most likely to be hurt by the person you're closest to. You're more likely to be hurt by somebody close to you. There's much more of a responsibility to make sure that that vulnerability is practiced in a way that doesn't lead to harm, that it leads the other direction. Because on the other side of that vulnerability, on the other side of those places where we do feel like we might fight, is transformation on the other side of that if we handle it right. And that transforms behavior and culture in a way that's much more healthier and powerful for all of us.
That's absolutely right. We are winding down, good folks, but Joseph and Yorgada, I want to make sure I get you all's your voices in this before we close out. And Alfonso, you can close us down, right? So, Joseph, speaking of conflict, you showed us what it means to move through conflict in real time, right? You were so vulnerable, but you were also so honest and so real. And yes, that was a moment that the internet went in on, right? But what did that mean for you? And what did it show you in terms of your own strength of how to effectively move through conflict, but how do we get to transformation on the other side?
Say the question one more time. I was trying to, I'm sorry. Say
No,
it.
you're fine, babe. I just want to know how was that for you, right? And what did it mean to like be in conflict in real time to the world?
It took courage. It took courage for you to to openly say what you needed to say.
I feel like one thing with me, I lead with integrity, and I feel that for someone to actually trust is something that connects people. Trust is something that makes someone want to even hear you. So for me, I think in that own situation, I'm not gonna just sit up there and lie or make up a story or something like that. this is my lived experience, I think in that, I think sometimes I put my own self down and think you do have a gift. I saw a lot of comments where people were like, oh my gosh, you as a gay man, I can't imagine you sitting in, a room full of straight men or you talking against Clifton. I'm like, y'all, I'm just gay. I'm a big old man. You see me up here, girl, come on. Hey, I'm playing, stop. But I think just the power of it though, sometimes in my own head, I play down situations, but it's just have a voice and speak up into other things that you encounter. But as far as the situation with him, I think that's something that happens behind closed doors a lot, or a lot of people don't have the strength to do that. A lot of you have grandfathers or even grandmothers. It's a big difference. 25 to 30 to 40 to 50 years of an age difference, there's a lot of things that they experience that we have not. So equally to respectability politics, there are things that he's lived that I've not understand, and sometimes you just have to just respect people for where they are. So.
Yeah, and I think that what you all were able to do on the other side was where the beautiful, powerful moment was, right? it was just so, so beautiful on the other side. And like Kendrick said, it's gonna take us being willing to go through that with each other so that we can actually get to those moments on the other side. You're a guy that you are in this conversation as a person that's been deeply connected to hip hop. And we know that hip hop has been, you know, it's given us some things that have been very hard, right?
Problematic.
I mean, it's been super problematic, right? But you came into this conversation wanting to be vulnerable about that too. How was this conversation for you bringing in the hip hop angle, and what are you hoping that those who are committed to hip hop get from this conversation?
Well, I think first, it's not necessarily about being connected to hip hop, but being connected to a purpose. And my purpose is God, and always has been. Unfortunately, the foundation that I had as far as a mother and father, it was what to me seemed like a middle class family, but it was actually poverty when it came to the mindset of things. And I only learned that through going through therapy and realizing the leadership that I lacked and the providing skills that I lacked when trying to take care of my family. So it wasn't until some ugly truths had to come about to where it led me to saying, God, listen, even when I got into the music after dodging a life sentence, I'm like, I'm committed to purpose. So maybe through hip hop, I can get me a check, but I can blend in coming from this environment to be able to lead brothers to a different light. But I had to also understand there was an agenda in place. And if I stayed on the course of following this agenda, I can get some money, but I can still be hypocritical by rapping one thing and trying to tell you to do something else. And so it came to a point where even with the music, I didn't want to rap about, I'm not in poverty no more. I don't want to rap about killing. I don't want to rap about, I got kids listening to my music. It was just kind of like, God, I don't know what I do from here, but I do want to have a purpose with who I am and what my voice is. And, you know, God just working miraculous ways to where Sister Song came, and it's just being prepared for the opportunity, because you never know how it's going to come about. It wasn't really too much that I was doing outside of trying to live my life better that led to this opportunity for me to actually express what it's like now that I've been in therapy, now that I've underwent certain situations that, you know, could have caused me to go astray. But I'm like, nah, I'm going to keep my intentions pure. I'm going to keep God as the head of my life, and I'm going to take care of my family that I feel like is steered away from hip hop, but it's still within the community. So I'm still here. I'm still a face of something, and I'm grateful for that.
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
And I thank you for the opportunity as well. I appreciate it.
100%. Y'all, this wasn't an easy conversation for us to do, to have, to organize as an organization. But we knew it was something that we had to do. And this is only the beginning. These brothers said yes to the first step in what is going to have to be a long series of conversations, a long series of interventions, of ways for us to deeply connect more and to be more intentional about how we're having conversations, sharing our stories with each other. Alfonso, we've been doing this for a minute with each other, right? And we've both been super committed to finding a way to build this bridge. So as we're getting ready to close out now, what are you hopeful about in this moment as this being a first step in this conversation?
You know, what I say, one of the most important things we can do as adults is understand when and how to take off our masks. We end up developing masks over time in order just to function, in order to navigate the world, in order to protect ourselves. We have these shields that we create, especially here in the US, but also in other parts of the world. As people of color, we face significant obstacles. In order just to survive, you have to create these shields and these masks. It's just as important to understand that they are shields and that they are masks, and you have to understand how you take them off.
That's right.
Because if you don't understand how to take them off, you suffer.
Yeah.
Your family suffers, your community suffers.
Yeah.
And you're not able to sort of deconstruct the vestiges of slavery that we still live with today.
Yeah.
So this conversation is intergenerational. It is deeply spiritual and is deeply political.
100%.
So this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And it is our honor to be in partners with all of you
I know
to
that's
do this
right.
work.
Let me just tell you all one more thing. Black women, I came to this work of reproductive justice because of my own lived experiences. The things I've experienced, so many of us have so many shared experiences. But why this conversation for me was so transformative was because I was living in a world as a Black queer woman, born and raised in the South, that truly did not believe that there was a Black man that would protect me if there was no opportunity for him to potentially have some level of sexual connection to me. That was my truth. And I was doing this work out of that truth for myself because I didn't believe it was possible. And so in this conversation, I had an opportunity to be transformed within myself because I am able to see that that is something I took on in myself because of my own trauma, of the things I experienced for myself, that I no longer wanted to be my reality. So what these Black men didn't realize that they were doing for me, and what I didn't even realize that they were doing for me, was giving me an opportunity to release that trauma. So if that is happening for me, as a Black woman who's been doing this work for 20 years, imagine what it can do for so many other Black women holding so many other things. This is why we do this work. We do this work in order for us not only to do the political work to get ourselves free, but the spiritual and deeply personal work to get us free within ourselves. Do y'all feel what I'm saying? That is what liberation is. So I want to thank you all again for saying yes to something you didn't even know that you were doing, for saying yes to something that has not only changed the internet, but is going to continue to change lives. And thank you all for saying yes to this conversation. We love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.